3 years ago, when Deion Sanders first arrived to Colorado with his Louis luggage, he won 4 games. Last season in year 2, he exceeded expectations. He won 9 games. What are your expectations for Deion Sanders in Coach Prime entering his 3rd season as the head coach of Colorado football? Do you believe that with the losses of Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders, 2 of the greatest buffs ever, that Deion and this program take a step back and regress? Or do they continue the trend up? Do they compete for the Big 12 championship like how they did last year? For the majority of the season, Colorado was front runners to make it to the Big 12 title, but they had a loss to Kansas late, which essentially derailed that. Are they going to be back in Big 12 championship contention this year? When I look at what Deion Sanders has built at Colorado, I trust the infrastructure is good enough that even if Colorado does regress, it's not going to be a huge regression. They're not going to go from being a 9-win team to a 6-win team. I believe that the floor for Colorado is a lot higher than what odds makers, what pundits in the national media are saying, which is 6 wins, maybe 5. I think that the floor is at least 7, 8 wins. Deion Sanders has shown that he's not a gimmick coach like how everybody initially thought he was. He has made some really good coaching hires. Nobody talks about the hiring of Warren Sapp. When Deion first said that he was making Warren Sapp his defensive line coach, oh, Deion Sanders isn't taking this seriously. All he's trying to do is hire his buddies. He just wants to get his homeboys a job. Well, you saw how Warren Sapp had that defensive line playing. Colorado was top 10 in America in sacks last year. Deion Sanders' defensive coordinator last year, Robert Livingston, was one of the best coordinator hires in all of college football. I don't understand how Robert Livingston was not a finalist for the Jim Boros Award. If you don't know what the Jim Boros Award is, it goes to the top assistant coach in America. Robert Livingston did God's work with this defense last year. In Deion Sanders' first season, defense was non-existent. Robert Livingston, in his first season as Colorado's defensive coordinator, they were top 30 in points per game, yards. They were outstanding in the red zone, and they were second in forced turnovers. So this season, with everything that Deion Sanders has built his first 2 years at Colorado, from the coaching staff to the personnel that he has going into this season, at Big 12 Media Days, when he said that despite the losses of Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders, you're going to need a bunch of good players to replace those guys. He said that Colorado has those guys to replace them. Colorado is a better team this season than what they have been their first 2 years under Coach Prime. And this is from directly out of the horse's mouth. Deion Sanders said this. He truly believes this, and I believe him too. Because the only issue that has plagued Colorado has been the offensive line. The offensive line should be really solid this year. Are they going to be great? Are they going to be elite? I don't know, but I think it's a safe guarantee with the portal additions that Deion Sanders is bringing in on the offensive line. You're bringing in guys that aren't unproven. The previous portal class you brought in to fix the offensive line were guys that were all potential. Didn't really have a lot of production at their previous stop. The offensive line class they have this year out of the portal is much different. They got a former offensive lineman from Illinois that's a 2-year starter, one of the better offensive linemen coming from the Big 10. He's starting for Colorado this year. You got Jordan Seaton in year 2. He should take a big step and cement himself as one of the best offensive tackles in all of college football. Did you know that Colorado, going into this season, has the third heaviest offensive line in college football? This offense is going to have a completely different philosophy than what we've seen Colorado's offense have in the past. And it all starts with the big boys that Deion Sanders has up front. Remember, he told y'all that Colorado was a few dogs away from being able to compete, from being able to contend. Well, those dogs that Deion was saying that he was waiting on, he has on the offensive line. That offensive line is going to be the identity of Colorado's offense this year, because Colorado is no longer going to be the air raid team that they have been in the previous 2 seasons. You can expect to see a more run-centric offense with the addition of Kaidon Salter out of the transfer portal. Colorado is going to be more run-heavy. Kaidon Salter, 2 years ago in 2023, he scored 44 total touchdowns. He ran for over 1,000 yards that season. Now, last year, he had a little bit of a slump, but he should be able to revert back to that 2023 form due to him having a better supporting cast around him with a good offensive line. Colorado is going to be able to lean into Kaidon Salter's athleticism. They're going to be able to find a way to revolve this offense around his mobility. And with his mobility, that's going to open up things for Michael Welch, Dallin Hayden. Both of those guys are more than capable to have breakout seasons at running back for the Buffs. It just all comes down to the offensive line, which, if it has improved as what a lot of us believe that it has, then this offense is going to be really good running the football. Of course, they're going to have the ability to throw it on you because Kaidon Salters is a really good passer. We know that Deion has a really great eye for a receiver, but Colorado's offense is going to look entirely different this year. They're going to have a new identity that they haven't had before. They're going to be more balanced. They're going to be more run-centric. Kaidon Salters, what he does on the ground is going to be a large part of that. Defensively, they're still going to be really good despite the losses of Travis Hunter, Colton Hood, who transferred to Tennessee. They lose a few good players on the defensive line. That pass rush still is going to be good. They still have a ton of talent, a ton of depth. They still got guys on that defensive line left over from what they brought in on the D-line last year out of the transfer portal. You got a really good defensive tackle out of the portal, and I believe his name is Jaheim Oates. Don't quote me on that. He should be really good, from Alabama. A lot of Bama fans were saying that losing him did hurt because they believe that he had the potential to be a really good piece for them this year. So that defensive line could be even better than what it was last year for Colorado. They have fortified the line of scrimmage on both offense and defense. The secondary should still be really good. You got DJ McKinney, one of the better corners in college football. You got Preston Hodge returning at safety. My biggest concern with this defense is going to be who's going to be cornerback 2 with the loss of Colton Hood. Overall, Colorado in their 3rd season under Deion Sanders is more than primed to be contenders for the Big 12 championship this year. There is not a single team in this conference that Colorado doesn't have the ability to beat. They now are going to have the big boys necessary on the line of scrimmage to go toe-to-toe with some of the better programs in this conference, like Arizona State, Iowa State, BYU. You won't see them get tossed around like how they did in the Alamo Bowl. You have a really good coaching staff that Deion Sanders has assembled. You have a team that mostly has been built with a NFL mentality. Deion is saying we're not about to overspend and get in the bidding wars for guys out of high school that haven't proven anything. We're just going to put our money towards guys that already have given us something that we know is going to translate on the field for us because we're getting proven starters out of the transfer portal, something that Colorado has not really done in the past under Deion Sanders. His past few transfer classes have been more so guys that haven't really started at their previous schools, but they have a lot of potential. They had a lot of upside, but a lot of those guys didn't really pan out. This year, though, you have more guys that are proven from their previous stop. You got more guys on the offensive line that have already shown the ability to be capable starters. And we already know Deion gets skill position right every time he doesn't miss that receiver. You know, receivers were one of the strengths that Colorado was able to get from the portal with Jimmy Horn Jr., Xavier Weaver, LaJohntay Western. This year, Marion Miller is going to be that guy who takes over for Colorado. I think that Marion Miller could end up being one of the best receivers in college football. There is a lot to be high on when it comes to the trajectory and the ceiling of Colorado football this year and Deion Sanders' third season. I think that it is realistic to see Colorado playing in the Big 12 championship for not just the conference title, but also a spot in the college football playoffs. And I am rooting for a Deion Sanders versus Bill Belichick first-round playoff matchup, and I hope that it happens, and I believe that Colorado can make it happen with everything that Deion Sanders has built, with the foundation that he has laid. I think Colorado doesn't regress this year. I think the ceiling for them is possibly going 11-1, 10-2, making it to the Big 12 championship and winning that thing. There's not a single team in the Big 12 that Colorado can't beat.